All right, Dolphin fans, we get a big game on Christmas. And on the face of it, it looks like a game Miami should win. It's a game that Miami needs to win. But this one I don't think is going to be as easy as a lot of us thought, as we saw Green Bay really struggle for the first part of the season. There's going to be some interesting matchups, some interesting statistics to show. Third down is a critical down. But when you look at these two teams, third down and Miami's ability and intestinal fortitude to run the football really looks like the two key elements that are going to determine this game. So I'm going to get into the matchups, the offense versus defense on both sides, some key stuff we need to focus on. And a little bit of a downer for me. We should have drafted Zach Tom. He's now starting left tackle for the Packers because of injuries, and he is ranked the 47th best tackle in the league. And this guy's, I'll get into it. It's a little depressing. But I hope we beat him, so it's not as depressing. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. This is Curtis saying you guys make the channel happen. I really appreciate everything you guys do. I want to give you guys a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without you and without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. Okay, so I guess I'll finish with Zach Tom. Zach Tom was a guy we had in the building. We had interviews with him. And if you look at his athleticism, it literally is like off the charts. He's the best athlete for the position in like 20 or 30 years since they've been doing the metrics. He clearly has the ability to play all five positions on the field. He played a little guard, played a little left guard, a little right guard, and a now left tackle. He was a little small. I get that. But this guy's technique, intelligence, and athleticism was off the charts. I think we missed big time. He would have turned this offense around, and likely this team would have been perfect for his own stretch. Big miss. I don't know who made the decision. I know McDaniel said he wanted easy, and I don't know who won Tyndale, but to me, this guy looks like he's going to be incredible. I mean, not incredible, but at least very good. To do what he's doing right now, it's really impressive. So he'll be starting for the team. Hopefully we blow him out, and I'm totally wrong. So that's the one downside. Good side is we're at home. Packers got a short week. They've had a lot of problems. Rodgers has been hurt, but he says he's feeling better, but he's not going to be 100%. But when you look at this team, it's very easy to write them off. And in some ways, I felt like I did too. But they've got the second best pass defense, 29th run defense. Can you got the vibe between Chargers, and this is very similar. There's a lot of similarities here, except, better quarterback and better offensive line. Less receiving talent too. But anyway, so Dolphins are going to have a good, solid game plan. They're going to have to be a little patient to beat on the inside of this team because they give up chunk yards, 148 yards per game. And, it's easy to say we can't run the football, but you could see against the Bills what we can do. And it really comes down to inside zone versus outside zone and being patient and having that consistency and belief in balance to get these big guys who do have weaknesses in pass protect to just get them hitting. And even on critical downs where it's just probably more comfortable for this team with all the talent, with McDaniel and Tua to throw the football. But we have really struggled on 3rd and 1. I think we're 1 of 8. So it's time for us to consider some other options. And I think if we run balanced attack and we trust these guys up front, we allow Mostert to have a full game, I think we beat them handily. But if we get too cutesy, it could run into problems. And here's why. Now, Packers are also ninth in pressure. So they can cover, can't stop the run. They can get pressure, and some of that has to do with the coverage. You'll see in a little bit. But they're really, really good third down defense, second in the league. So they're giving up yards in the run, and they're not a perfect defense, but when it comes down to that key moment, they kill it. Now, you look at our defense, we're 27th, so second and 27th. Huge disparity. I'll get into the concerns I have as well if we don't run the football. But then if you look to the other side, there's nice balance. They suck, and we suck equally, 29th in the league on third downs. So the one key element here is the Packers' defense, the ability to succeed on third down. Now, I do think that's a little balanced by what Waddle and Hill can do, especially being home in Miami, having a little heat, little comfort. So this could all go out the door with a couple of big plays. But Alexander is a very good corner, and he's got a solid crew around him at linebacker, at free safety. And so I do think if we get too cutesy, this could be a little bit of a dogfight and a bigger problem than it needs to be. And we need to come out with this win. Not 100%. We can go lose this game and then go beat Jets and the New England Patriots, and we'll get in, But do you want to lose 4 in a row? I hope that whatever we do, we win. But to me, it is very, very clear. You've got to put this defense on its heels with the run game so they're guessing what you're going to do. And allow the Dolphins offense to try a few runs on short because they're probably going to play a lot of nickel. Not as much as the Bills, but a ton of nickel. I'm almost 100% certain. So that's the layout. Third down is going to be key. Packers defense really has a strong edge. Everyone else kind of sucks. Weak in the stomach and really good coverage situations. But we have great receivers. So we could just blow them out and just, do what we do. Go deep, baby, and it could work. I mean, I really think that on any given day, we could beat any team because of Waddle and Hill. But I don't know if I want to ride on that one. So here, we'll take a look at our offense. You can see the graphic here versus their defense. Now, clearly, we have the edge at receiver, but they don't have slouches over there. And even their nickel can kind of hang with our third. And you see at the top, they got Ford, excellent free safety. And so there's going to be a little bit of problem for us to pass. It's not going to be as easy. These guys are going to be able to do some things. They can cover the middle a little bit with Campbell, who's a really good cover linebacker. But if you look at the rest, they got a poor free safety. They got a poor opposing opposite linebacker to Campbell. Smith, Reed, Clark, and Gobert, whatever. They've got a weak front. And they're getting their hay probably by a lot of coverage sacks. And so we've got to run. You look at our offensive line, Armstead, and Jones, he gets a 60 here, PFF grade. But this guy can run block in the zone when you put him man on man and let him use that big body. Connor, one of the best in the league, specifically in the run game. You got Hunt, still near top 10. He struggled the last couple of games, even in the run blocking, but a big guy who can run block. And Shell struggles with agility and speed and stunts, slow-footed to a certain degree, but an excellent run blocker. We need to attack these green boxes with our running attack and develop legitimate play action. Again, we could do this straight up, because we have such awesome talent, but Mostert and Tua, they'll be more utilized with a really good run game and legitimate play action. Now, a problem to that is Gesicki. Gesicki and Durham Smythe, they're not good. Hunt Along, they're not good at run blocking. Smythe's not too shabby, but I just believe that this offensive line has the ability to dominate inside 148 yards per game. Not as bad as the Chargers, but pretty close. So this is going to be, what does McDaniel do? Does he learn? Does he grow? Or does he double down? And maybe even doubling down, he shows, hey, we could blow this team out. I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be a major evaluation. What's the strategy of McDaniel versus the Packers? And what's the results? So this will be interesting to see how it plays out on third down and the run game. But then you go look at the Packers offense versus our defense. And you look clearly, we have such ridiculous talent on front. You got Ingram over here, but you got to count Phillips in there. They put him inside, but he'll be playing outside. And then you got Sealer as well. Van Ginkel. We're loaded up front. And it's really easy to say, boy, just needs to dial up better blitzes. But the problem is, our secondary in the green boxes really is terrible. It is so bad. And the problem is, it's amplified by our linebackers. Edwards, Orlando Roberts can't cover. He struggles only in very small zones. And Baker, he's pretty good, but not great. Duke, he's okay, but he doesn't see enough action. And so, we're going to have Noah, Crossan, Kohu I like, but in man coverage, it runs into a problem. Howard is beat up. He can make the big play, but he struggles in run stop and in man. And so if we even go to zones, it's going to put more pressure on the linebackers. And you could see they just don't have a feel of their drops. So if we're in man, we're going to have problems because this is a pretty good receiving group. Lazard, Cobb, and Watson, they could do their job. And Rodgers is going to be able to beat the blitz. He's mobile enough. And this offensive line, you can see Tom, who's having a phenomenal year for a rookie taken in the 4th round. Jenkins, excellent. Myers, not so good. Runyon, very good. And Nijman, I guess that's what his name is. This is a pretty good offensive line, enhanced by what Rodgers is able to do in his pre-snap and post-snap diagnosis, his mobility, and his ability to throw the football. I am very nervous at the nickel corner in this game and when we play man because Rodgers is playing well still, and he has a very diminished squad. Now, Holland over the top, they're not going to make big plays. They're all about kind of short stuff. And Holland is having a good year, not a great year like last year, but he's not going to come into play so much except for on the blitzes, but I expect Rodgers to take notice of that. He's going to stop the top over the top stuff, but I don't think they're going to do much of that. So while his talent is really good, it's going to stress these corners. It's going to stress Rowe. It's going to stress these linebackers, and it's going to come down to the pass rush. But can it get there quick enough? A half a second either way could be the difference between a sack and a big play. If these guys up front had an excellent secondary, I think you would see a totally different level. You'd be like, this is a great front. But the problem is, can this secondary hold up? It's going to be paramount. And we have the run game to worry about too. Balances attacks are very, very nerve-wracking. I believe that Green Bay is 12th in rushing and 15th in pass attack. So you're going to have legitimate play action. You're not going to know necessarily what they're going to do. And they have the ability to get to that second level and get into very poor linebackers who aren't able to shed, and that can crack open a big play. Not saying it's going to happen, but this is not going to be as easily done as said when you just look at the records. So I think Miami's going to win. I think McDaniel, I give people grief when I see them doing something wrong. I think McDaniel was very hard-headed in the San Fran game, 8 rushes. And then in the Chargers game, just foolhardy in not getting that rushing game going and being consistent with it. I think it was only 15 rushes. And then coming back in the Bills game, he learned, he adjusted, he opened up with the run, and he pounded. But in those clutch situations, in those I'm getting nervous situations, he went to the pass. And I obviously understand why. You got Hill and you got Waddle. But it's going to take that intestinal fortitude on those tight downs to run it instead of pass, because teams really have the book on what you're doing. And if they know your tendencies, you can be better, but you can still run into a lot of problems if that D coordinator knows your tendencies and he dials up the right plays. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think a 3-point game. Now, it was like 4, and then the whatever they call it, the spread. I don't even know what this stuff means. But it was low, then went high, and it went back again after the Bills game. And they're telling me, when you see this kind of stuff, that something's going on here. This is going to be a tight game. This is going to be a close game. And they do expect Miami to win, as I do. But there's going to be a couple of big plays, a couple of third down plays. How McDaniel handles this run game. And turnovers. Turnovers will be terrible. We cannot have turnovers. We have to generate them, even though we don't generate too many. This is going to be a very fun game, because if Miami can... Look, a lot of people, fans will say, oh, Green Bay's we should beat them. They're stiff. But people in the league, the players, understand they're going against Rodgers in a critical situation. His season's on the line. He's got to win. If he loses this, pretty much the season's over for him. But if he wins, there's still that little bit of hope. So this is going to be a huge game for Green Bay. And if they can beat Rodgers in this type of game, and with the team that they have, they came out and they had to grow. They had some bad luck early and all that. This is a good team. If we can beat this team, if we can grow in our run calls, I really like our chances to go into New England and take that one. And if we could beat New England and we could beat Green Bay, I think we're already in. So it'll be interesting. We can't lose this one. I'd like to see it a blowout to get that. There's a funk that you could feel in the ether all around this team, and you don't need it. It doesn't affect on the field, but people's heads, coaches' heads, it does. I mean, just imagine. I'm here, and I get a couple of nasty comments. I'm like, oh, just imagine what these guys got to feel. I mean, newspaper reports, videos, all these like whatever, the TikTok thing, whatever it is, all that stuff that's out, the social media stuff. It's a lot. We need positivity. We need to go into this postseason, which we're probably going to get, with some kind of heat. We need to make the most out of it. It's got to start this game. So I got this one. I know which I got 2 coming out today. I don't know which one's coming out first. I got 1 tomorrow, and then get ready for the holidays. So thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Guys, big game. Watch it. I know it's the holidays, but I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a real exciting game. So enjoy. If I don't hear from you from next podcast or whatever I do, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and again, go Fins. We need this one. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.